Oh, there you go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WDW Fan Zone Show. We're recording this on St. Patty's Day, so Darlene, who is here tonight, is drunk. We're also joined by Kurt, John, and Jess, and I am Stuart. Welcome to the Nightmare, which is the WDW Fan Zone Show. We're going to get things...
I'm so bad.
Now, don't take another drink, Darlene, please. Now we're going to kick it off with the news. Jess will stop laughing.
Oh, goodness, that was great.
Away,
Hello,
Jess.
everybody. It's great to be back. So here's the park news. So there's a new change to the My Disney Experience app for dining reservations. You can now select up to 10 days to check for a reservation. The app also made some user-friendly changes that makes the app easier to navigate. Check it out. Typhoon Lagoon is open again, and Blizzard Beach is now closed. Make sure you check for park hours as they can change without notice. Kali River Rapids has also reopened at Animal Kingdom. Make sure to check the hours for this attraction because they will change within the week. I was seeing that the attraction is opening at 9 a.m. and then closing at various hours throughout the week. So please check that out in case it is not opening with the park. So you will not be going there first thing in the morning. But that could change soon too. So again, check that out. The 4-day Discover Disney ticket for Florida residents is $59 a day plus tax, and the ticket would be $235 plus tax. 3-day is $73 a day or $219 plus tax. These tickets are for one park per day, and you can add a park hopper and memory maker for photos for additional charges. The tickets will be valid from April 2nd to September 28th, and you will need a park reservation for these tickets. There are a couple other new ticket options as well for everybody, not just Florida residents. There is a 4-day 4-park offer for $99 a day plus tax. That comes out to $396 plus tax. This is valid from April 2nd to September 22nd, and you must use them within 7 days from a chosen start date. You would not need a park reservation. But then they also have a 3-day 3-park ticket deal for everyone, and that is $89 a day. And that is just for Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Animal Kingdom. That is not for Magic Kingdom. The total price is $267 plus tax. And the tickets are valid from April 2nd to September 24th. And they're valid for 5 days after a start date that you choose. Again, no park reservation is needed. Don't forget to check park hours before planning your trip and check them once you arrive to see if they've changed, because they do change. And the Walt Disney World area is expecting rain and potential storms for Monday with a cold front behind it. So pack rain gear and warmer and cooler weather clothing for the night and mornings. And that is all I have for today.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
So good to see you.
See you real soon.
Yep, enjoy the week. Take care.
Thank
Happy
you. You
Easter.
too. Everyone have a great week.
You too.
Good night, Jess.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this week, what are we talking about this week? I'm not going to ask Darlene because she's drunk, as we all know. No, we're talking about queues, the best and our favorite. Do you want to go park by park?
I think it'd
Yes,
be
short-term
easier
memory loss,
to
doesn't he?
compare them.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were going to give her time to talk about her cruise.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, before we get into the queues, we're going to talk about Darlene's cruise.
Hilarious.
You the cruise.
Me.
Yeah, but he's not drunk. He's just old.
have-
There's a difference.
Sometimes. Oh, golly. Okay. So
Okay,
I was
go ahead.
able to go on the Disney Wish this past weekend. It was a Friday to Monday cruise. The entry into the port, as long as we did everything like according to the emails we got about checking in and everything, we had a seamless entry into the terminal. and parking was really easy as well. We just prepaid when we went in, and we parked, and we were done. So that was all good. We got on the ship, and they announced their names. We were all excited. I mean, the Grand Hall is beautiful. Cinderella is beautiful, standing there all in her gold with the little mice on her dress and everything. She looks a little, I don't know. She kind of looked fake to me. Like, I know she's fake, but I was thinking she'd look more herself, like in the movie, you know. But she's beautiful. So we then went up to Marcelina's Market. That whole area, that deck and everything, they've got a barbecue, they have like a Asian, they have the ice cream, they have homemade hamburgers that my husband loved, pizza. I mean, you can get anything you want. And then we went into Marcelina Market, and again, it's definitely different than the other ships I've been on. It's not a full buffet cabanas. They have 2 sets of things with things divided up, and you walk from station to station. The food was delicious, though. I mean, I don't care if it's in one huge thing or if it's in separate little things. All the food on the ship was absolutely amazing. We did our rotation was Arendelle, 1923, and Marvel's Avengers technical showroom, I think, showcase. John, showcase.
It's been a while since I've been
On it. Okay.
Yeah.
It was something like that, but our favorite meals were 1923 and Marvel's. Arendelle was very good. The tables were a little crammed, it seemed. I couldn't, like, with the table next to us where they positioned us by the stage, we couldn't like get out. So I did put that in my survey that they need to like rearrange those tables or take a table out. I don't know what they're going to do, but we could not stand up. But our servers,
You normally stand up to eat?
no, we were literally like, we were right on top of the stage. It was great. We could see everything perfectly. We ended up having Simone was the head server, and then Matt was
Darlene, we don't care who head servers.
but we had Kennedy. Our drinks were filled even if they were half empty, they were refilled right away. It was perfect. They catered to everybody at the table that was there. It was very nice. They even made special food for the little one, so that worked out great. We did not get to see any of the shows on this cruise because we had other things that we were doing.
Really?
I did a rum tasting. The rum tasting.
Yeah, let's see. Do I see a show or do I do a rum tasting? Boy.
It was with who we were traveling with. It was done because it was. And the rum was very good. And the story, the history story that was given with it was very well done.
For those who don't know Darlene, there isn't an alcoholic drink she has ever met that she doesn't like.
Not necessarily. Anything with black licorice in it, forget about it.
Do you like anisette?
I like anisette, but not like in a drink. I'll eat cookies and frosting, but I will not drink it in a drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the drinks of the day were very good. I only ordered one.
Sure.
And that was the Mai Tai. That was very good.
Yeah, she ordered one and she was on the floor. That's why she didn't order a second one.
We
If you
rode the
haven't noticed, I
Aqua
am
Mouse.
picking on Darlene tonight.
I didn't realize the Aqua Mouse video changed, and that was pretty cool. I went on it once, and then I went on the next day, and it was a totally different video. So that was kind of cool. So if you don't ride it more than once, you don't know that. And oh gosh, we ate breakfast only the day we were leaving. We were back in the Marvel, and that sit down breakfast was very, very good. They brought out anything that you wanted.
Now, other than the food and the alcohol, is there anything else that stands out from the ship?
Yeah, the splash pad was really nice. They released it very well. A little kid running. He was probably around 8 or 9. That splash pad is not for 8 or 9-year-olds. It's for babies and toddlers. So he got yelled at and had to be, escorted out by staff. We did get to tour all of the nursery areas and stuff. We took a tour. That was really neat. We seen the incredible Olympic thing that they do upstairs by the Vibe and that was really neat. They timed 2 kids to run through it and then whoever in the family wins, they're all excited and stuff. That was neat. Okay, so I had heard stories about the elevators. These elevators are very narrow and long, but you can't fit a lot of people in there once you add a stroller in or something.
I think that's true with almost every cruise line with elevators. I don't think that's unique to just Disney, though.
The older ships have better size elevators. But the ones that we were on, these, Stuart, if you would see these, you would totally understand. I felt a little bad. There was a girl in a wheelchair. Her wheelchair just fit. And what I was picturing is I have a friend who's in a bigger wheelchair. I can understand why they were very upset that they couldn't ride on those elevators and had to use surface ones.
Yeah, they're definitely narrow entrances. They're deeper and they have more of them. Now, do they have the buttons fixed on the
They
elevator?
do.
Okay.
They do. They took so my son-in-law had said that they were this flat screen with everything was touchless kind of, but the minute you touched it with your arm, it lit up the whole entire board and you stepped on every floor.
Yeah.
So he was thrilled that they were like push buttons now. So yeah.
All right, great.
Thank
you, Darlene.
It was a great show, or a great cruise.
I'm sure. Disney cruises are wonderful. The only problem I have with Disney cruises is the cost. For the amount I would pay for one Disney cruise, I can go on 2 from another cruise line, or maybe even 3, depending on the lane.
I would though, after talking to them, like to go on the Treasure at least once to see the different, like the Coco and the Haunted Mansion Lounge.
That Haunted Mansion Lounge looks absolutely stunning and amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure John will let us know after he comes off the Treasure, because I know John will be one of the first ones on there.
Hyperspace was really neat.
Next February, I'll be on the Treasure.
Yeah. Yep. Have to do a review on that one.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into tonight's topic. Hughes. Because it's a quick, short park. I think we'll start off with Animal Kingdom. I don't think there's much there to speak of, but let's see. Maybe there's something I'm forgetting.
So how many top ones are we doing?
Oh, well, we'll go through we'll do as many as we think we have to in each park. With Animal Kingdom, I can think of 1.
Oh, I have 5.
Actually, I can think of 2.
I have least 5. 3, if not 5. Yeah.
Well, there were, but see, for me, there were 2 that stand out to me above the others.
Well, yeah, certainly have a favorite, and I have.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll hold mine for later. So, John, why don't you kick it off and tell us what your favorite and best are in Animal Kingdom?
Well, I'll give you my top 2. How's that? And they're actually, Well, I guess they're not that close together. They're actually on opposite ends of the park. I like two in the same area, but they're not my top two. So my top two are Expedition Everest and Flight of Passage. And I don't like waiting in the Flight of Passage queue myself.
You know what? I forgot about Flight of Passage.
If you are waiting in the queue, you're going to be there for a long time.
Yes,
generally.
you are.
So I don't know that I've ever waited in the queue in Flight of Passage. I think I've always had either a fast pass. I don't think I've been on it with Genie Plus.
I've waited in the queue.
Yeah,
I've walked through the queue a few times now.
Yeah, and certainly at the end of the queue, everybody has to go through the end of the queue. It does get a little tiring to hear that scientists tell the same silly stuff over and over again. But that was my number two. My number one was Expedition Everest. Expedition Everest queue. It just seems like the one that the Imagineers put so much thought into, and they made it so authentic. And they brought they purchased so many items from Nepal and around Everest and brought them back, whether it's backpacks or poles or whatever, the flags. There's just so much that's authentic, and there's so much to see, the different things you can read along the way. So that's my favorite queue within Animal Kingdom.
Yep. Kurt.
Well,
you can pick the same ones.
Yeah,
this is
with that one. They pretty much just went to Nepal and they bought the entire town.
What's left?
They literally did. Everything you see there is authentic.
Yes, it is.
So it's actually from the town. They did that with Asia. They did that with Africa. They just went through and they bought whatever they wanted.
Yep.
So yeah, my number one was Expedition Everest. Kali River Rapids is okay. There's a lot of stuff there that as well has a lot of stuff. Again,
better than the attraction.
Well, right now, yeah.
Yes.
But Flight of Passage, going through that laboratory is just, they have so much detail in there, and read the notes that are up on the wall and everything else that they have down, and those are my two favorites right there that you already posted. Honorable mention, the Kali River.
Yep. Darlene.
Well, since that was my two as well, but my third one was the Tree of Life. It's a Bug's Life.
Tough to be a bug. I have that in my list too.
That's okay. I wouldn't write home about it, but it's okay. It's
well, the queue is starting as soon as you start walking down.
Yep.
With all the carvings in the tree.
So, it's the whole Tree of Life, like Darlene says.
Yeah.
From different angles.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You can walk through that queue multiple times and still not see everything that's carved into that tree.
You could stare at the tree for hours and not see everything that's carved into that tree.
Exactly. It's just that. Yeah. So
I agree with John, Kurt, and if everybody pretty much that it's Flight of Passage, which I did forget about. And my second was, I'm sorry, that was my second. My first was Kilimanjaro, not Kilimanjaro Safari. No.
Expedition Everest.
Expedition Everest.
Different continent.
Yeah. Now, Dinosaur has the potential to be great, but it's outdated.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have with that queue.
Yeah. I had that in my list of my top three, actually. There are different sections to it. So you go into the museum part of it, and then you actually go down into the area where you're waiting for the trucks to take you out. And there's a lot to see. It keeps you interested, and it's well themed to what it is.
Yeah.
Here's a trivia question with that. Which chemicals, the chemical Florida or chemical formula for the pipes? There's a red pipe, a white pipe, and a yellow pipe. What's the formula that it's going?
You talked about this actually, I think, on our last show, and they're very popular items at McDonald's.
Yes. Yes,
Mayonnaise,
it's ketchup,
mustard,
mustard, and mayonnaise.
Wow.
Yes, because it was the attraction was originally sponsored by McDonald's. Your turn, Stu. Oh no,
Nope.
not your turn. What are we doing now? Moving
No.
on.
Well, I did want to mention one more thing about It's a Bug's Life. One of the things, and Darlene's right, there's a lot to see on the tree, but I never have to wait on that line. It's always walking through. So you have people behind you, so you can't really slow down and take your time because you want to get into the theater to see the show or the attraction.
Depending on when you arrive, though, you do have to wait inside of the tree, so you can see all the
I can't tell you the last time I had
playbills.
I've waited inside where the doors open to the theater, and that's it. I mean, I really don't have to wait. It's just walk right through.
Right. But there's a lot of playbills there is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you can read all those with the music that's playing. Good soundtrack.
That doesn't throw me, though. It's...
You don't like listening to Beauty and the Bees?
No, it's okay. It just doesn't throw me.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, I used to have that as my alarm to wake me up in the morning was Beauty and the Bees.
Okay. Since we're going to go in alphabetical order, let's move on to Epcot. No, we won't. We're going to move to Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Oh, okay. Since that D is before E?
Yeah. D before E, except after G.
Yeah, right.
All right. So Hollywood Studios, which doesn't have a lot of attractions right now, but will include what's there and what isn't permanently closed. God. Well, John, go ahead.
Well, I actually had 5 that I included on my list. And so the one that I picked for number 1, it somewhat depends on what you think is the start of the attraction and what you think is the queue, so what you think is the pre-show, I guess. So Rise of the Resistance has so many different segments to it.
It does.
You've got the queue, and then you've got Rey, and that some people think that's a pre-show, and I guess it could be. And then you're on a transport, and some people think that's part of the pre-show as well. Being in the Death Star, or I'm sorry, being in the ship for the First Order ship, some people think that's part of the pre-show. If you include all of that, I mean, that's just so much. So from that perspective, I made that my number 1. From a more traditional kind of queue, this was a tough one for me between Smuggler's Run and Tower of Terror, because Smuggler's Run, you've got a queue that goes past the Millennium Falcon, and then you're inside and you've got Hondo Ohnaka talking, and you've got all of this Star Wars paraphernalia, kind of in a warehouse. It's just so much to look at and see, and you have the data pads if you want to play along with that while you're in there as well. So I had a tough time, and I guess I didn't really pick between Smuggler's Run and Tower of Terror.
You said you had 5.
Well, my other 2 were Star Tours. Love the queue for Star Tours. So we've got Star Wars attractions. I've got 3 of my top 5, but Muppets is.
See, that was my question I had. Would that be considered a queue or
Yes.
pre-show? And
Well,
I think it can go either way.
If you include pre-show as a combination with the queue, so I included. So even before the pre-show starts, you're waiting there. So to me, it's part of the queue. But then you have all the stuff that comes on the TVs up ahead, and you've got all the puns that are around you. It's
phenomenal.
It's just so much fun. So
All right, Kurt.
So you have to include the Muppets as a queue because you're queuing up to go in.
Yeah,
So with that, it's
with
the puttiest. So with all the stuff that is storage that are up above, a net full of Jello, all that stuff, it has to be included. I
Mickey
agreed
Mouse.
with Star Tours. All the droid parts, including Rex, is right
Rex.
there with
Yeah.
his "I'm defective" tag that's on him.
Mhm.
Smuggler's Run with the parts between all the parts warehouse and actually going in and sitting down, getting ready to play the game. I always get my name called to like go before I can actually play a game sitting there at the table.
Within the Falcon, right?
Within the Falcon itself. And again, Smuggler's Run. How can you not? It is a queue all the way to the point of where you start to escape, as far as I'm concerned. So when you're once you come off that transport.
Oh, Rise of the Resistance. You're talking now.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. I Rise of the Resistance. I'm sorry. You're correct. Once you get off that transport, and you're just inside looking out with between the Starfield background, all the stormtroopers standing there, the TIE fighters hanging from the wall. It's just an incredible view.
Yep.
So those are the big ones. And Tower of Terror is, oh, come on, you're going back in time with all the details and the cobwebs, and you are in an old hotel. So,
and including the
very
basement.
haunting.
I love
Yeah.
the basement.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, Darlene.
Well, okay, so
You
here
can
we
do
go.
2, you can do 5, you can do 10.
Okay, yeah. Well, here we go. So, Rise of the Resistance was my number 1. Like John had said everything already. My second, though, was Tower of Terror, then Smuggler's Run, then Star Tours, then Toy Story Midway Mania. Because seeing all the old games.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And the the Etch-a-Sketch, the dominoes, the monkeys, I mean, you name it, anything that you remember from your childhood is in there as a large game. It's just so much fun.
It's life size. You're shrunk.
Right. And then my other one was the Q4 Muppets. I mean, I do enjoy that a lot, you know.
Yep.
I think it's great. The only other one that I think, but there's not much going on in the queue, is Mickey's Runaway Railway. I like the entryway, how that all starts,
Right.
but it's not as extravagant as, you know, Rise of the Resistance, Smuggler's Run, and the other.
I think they were limited for space and what they could do there, and that's why
I think so.
That's why it
too.
is the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. I think they're cartoon playbills. They could have made those interactive, maybe.
They could have.
That might have helped a little bit.
They could have done similar to Soarin'. They could have had you playing trivia as you walk through there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or they could, like you said, make it interactive where you take out your phone and you do something with your phone as you're going through.
And if you're waiting out in the courtyard and it's sunny, it's miserable. Or it's raining, it's miserable.
Oh,
yep.
Yes.
That's very true.
Absolutely.
Yep. So my number 1, hands down, Rise of the Resistance. Number 2, Tower of Terror. Number 3, Smuggler's Run. Number 4, I had Muppet Vision 3D. Number 5, Star Tours. Number 6, Toy Story Midway Mania. And number 7, I have Sounds Dangerous. And number 8, I know Sounds Dangerous is not there anymore. I'm kidding. I was kidding.
It's been sitting on your list for a long time.
You know, we talked about Toy Story Midway Mania. No one mentioned Mr. Potato Head.
That is the picture that is going up right before the show this week, Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, Mr. Potato
right.
Head rocks.
Yep.
I mean, you know how hard it was for them to program just when he pulls his ear out and puts it back in. That has to be exact.
Before Don Rickles passed away, he used to go into the Mr. Potato Head costume and insult people as they walk by. I miss Don Rickles. My God, what a great comedian he was.
There are so many that are
Yeah.
no longer with.
Yep, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, these days, comedians are not allowed to be comedians.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame. But anyway, where we go now? Epcot. Epcot may take a little while.
Well, very little. If
Yeah.
if it would have been this past week, I would have said Soarin' over California in Disneyland because Patrick Warburton was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But I wasn't there. And so no, I don't have Soarin' on my list. I hate standing and waiting on that ramp to go into Soarin'. And I like the last few moments when you've got when Patrick Warburton does come on and he gives you all the instructions. I love that part, but it's just way too short for the queue. But
yeah.
So I have one that I don't know that others are going to pick for their top one, but I picked Frozen Ever After because of the theming, the Norwegian, if you will, village that was around there.
Now, are you counting the hour and a half you have to wait outside?
No,
in the soaring heat.
I don't
through the doors.
I don't wait outside the doors. I only wait inside.
I know.
And my second one is kind of different, and it's American Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
a lot of artifacts.
It's not a typical queue. You're not walking through the queue. You're standing or sitting, and you might have the Voices of Liberty. There are so much to see on the walls, and they usually have a display that changes and rotates out with different material off on the side, in the side room there. And then you ultimately going up the escalator with all the flags, and it just has that colonial feel to it. It's my second favorite because of that. After that, I had Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. I told you last time that's my favorite ride in Walt Disney World right now. But I love the feel of being shrunk down and being in his world. You don't get a whole lot of it. But I also had The Seas with Nemo and Friends, because you're becoming part of that world. You go from the sand and then you go under the water, and you're going down with Nemo and his friends. So those are the ones I picked out for Epcot. I hope you'll let me know if I missed something.
It's funny though, before we get on to Kurt, when you look at the queues in Epcot, they pale in comparison to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Yeah. And I mean, they pale in comparison.
But you have a number of shows in Epcot as well.
Well, it's a different park.
Right.
So the expectations are completely different.
Yes. Yeah.
The queues were also a lot older. The queues were meant for managing the guests versus trying to keep the guests occupied.
Yeah, right. Yeah, to get on Grand Fiesta Tour, there's one thing I like about the queue for Grand Fiesta Tour. I usually don't have to wait in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, if there's a line there, I move on. I'll go another time.
True.
All right.
You did miss one. So I did like, Ratatouille, like being shrunk down, looking over France at night, seeing everything lit up at night. It's very entertaining. But you missed Cosmic Rewind.
Well, I don't go on Cosmic Rewind. I've been on it one time.
So I've done it once, but the details in there are spectacular. It's beautiful. It's for another planet. I don't remember the name of the planet. I really did enjoy it. Yes. So that was fun to walk through and learn about their history, just like if we were at Epcot. And Test Track. I like making my own car, especially when I'm competing against my kids. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains. So, hey, to quote Bull Durham, I've had all three happen. So, those are the big three that I had. The only thing that was fun about soaring is you have to use the app and play the game while you're waiting. You have to play the trivia games while you're waiting, if it's a really long line. but
yeah.
that's not anything visually spectacular,
Mm.
exciting in the queue itself. It's rather boring, like you said.
And you stand still for so long as you wait for the next
15 minutes.
The next, right? Yeah, the next show.
All right, Darlene.
Okay, so Ratatouille was my first. I love that queue. I just like walking through the streets and stuff and feel like I'm there.
You love the
And
2-hour wait?
yes, yes. Then my next one was Test Track.
Hmm?
I always liked walking through and seeing the cars, what was coming up, and what designs were there, what was new. They always like kept that like kind of current, and then afterwards you could actually see real cars at the end, which I thought was really neat. Another one that I really enjoy was walking into the Grand Fiesta, because you're walking through all of the shops and everything downstairs and then getting into the queue line and stuff. I think that's really neat for that ride.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're in Mexico at night.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, the mood is a very comfortable, relaxing, and it's very mood setting to be in there.
Can you
Mhm.
imagine what that place would be like if I forgot the name of the restaurant, and I've eaten there God knows how many times.
San
Uh,
Angelin.
That's it. If the food
Yeah.
was just halfway decent, you know how phenomenal that pavilion would, how much more phenomenal that pavilion would be. But it does sell out all the time, that restaurant.
Which shocks me. Absolutely shocks
You know,
me.
it's the atmosphere. If you want to go on a romantic date, nothing beats eating,
Yeah,
you know, like
it's the
great.
Blue Bayou of Epcot.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep, absolutely. That's a good analogy.
Yes.
But Blue Bayou has awesome food.
I'll let you know in September.
There you go.
So and those are my, I think my major ones, along with of course Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy.
no. Oh, sorry. For me, Test Track, you know, I like the old version of Test Track better, including the queue.
The queue, yes.
However, when you compare the queue at Test Track now to all the other queues in Epcot, I would still pick it number one. You know, like Kurt said, it's fun to make a car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's fun to watch others make the car. When I say others, I mean like my daughter, if she's with us, to make her a car too, because it's so different from anything I would do. I'm trying to think. Number two, if you count getting in the vehicle and going up to Spaceship Earth before you get there, I love Spaceship Earth, so I'm going to count that as my second one. But I'll be honest, it's nothing to write home about. The queue. You know, there's nothing that really thrills me in Epcot. I mean, there's a lot of queues. Oh, maybe Ratatouille's, you know, the Ratatouille attraction. That queue's pretty good. But I just hate waiting outside and winding through those lines till I get inside.
Yeah,
that kind of detracts from the queue itself. Other than that, there's not much to write home about at Epcot. But as we said before, it's a different park from Disney's Hollywood Studios. The expectations are different, and the queues are going to be different. And there's a lot going on in Epcot. You don't need those type of queues in Epcot like you do in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
There were a lot of distractions and good distractions in Epcot.
Especially during Flower and Garden, Food and Wine,
Wine, farts.
Theater of the Arts. Festival of the
Arts.
Festival of the Arts.
Yeah. What was I going to say now? Oh yeah, let's move on to Magic Kingdom. We've got about 20 minutes to go.
Well, definitely a lot more attractions here with a lot more queues. So you want me to start off?
Go for it.
Yeah.
I tossed around a few here from my favorite, and And I think my favorite has to be Haunted Mansion with the different. I don't like waiting outside. You know, if it's a long line, I don't like waiting out in the courtyard there either, especially if it's sunny. But once you get in and you're in the stretching rooms, and you're even it's just got that Haunted Mansion feel, even when you're waiting in that switchback to get onto your doom buggy. I it just fits with everything there. I really like the Haunted Mansion, and Pirates of the Caribbean is right up there too. You've got that whole Spanish fort to walk through. So all the Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland, the attraction part itself is my favorite between the two. The queue in Walt Disney World is my favorite of the queues. I just like walking through that Spanish fort and all the different vignettes you get to see. But those are my favorite too. But Peter Pan is right up there too. I love what they did with the new queue, the newer queue for Peter Pan, and they've got interactive parts in it. And you go into the bedroom, and you feel like you're part of the attraction, actually.
Yep.
So those are my top three. And then after you guys get into yours, I'm sure I'll blend in with some of the other ones I had.
Sure. All right, Kurt.
Top of the list is Pirates of the Caribbean. So really close there with Haunted Mansion. But the Pirates of the Caribbean, I mean, you walk in, as soon as you walk into that old fort, you've got the sights and the smell. The old, there it is, right there. Oh my God, 20,000 Leagues up there. That musty water smell. I mean, everyone's talked about it before. As you're going through there, that's what those old forts are like. Just going through, and the stalemate between the two skeletons that are down below. It's just very, very detailed. And the music is foreboding right away. So they got the deeper, darker portion of the music going. I agreed with Peter Pan. Trying to watch Tinkerbell flying around that bedroom is a lot of fun.
Do you ever find yourself waiting for her?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were trying to figure out where she was going to come out next. If you have young children, the interactive queue in a Winnie the Pooh attraction is quite fun. The wall of honey is very fun. Bring your hand sanitizer. That's all I'm going to say. The bees, the roller coaster bees, the busy bee. Instead of having busy beads, they have busy bees. That's a lot of fun. I agree with you in the Haunted Mansion though, but I do like going through that outer queue in the courtyard, figuring out, looking at the 5 statues, who done it, interacting with the pipe, the organ on the wall.
I'm talking about before you get to the interactive parts. Yeah, I like the interactive parts. I don't like just standing in line between the chains.
Oh, underneath the tent.
Yeah.
That's not nearly as fun. Yeah. Playing the organ is fun. I don't know how to play the organ, so I always have the keys wrong. I have no idea what I'm doing. I try not to get squirted by the water from the tomb outside. In it, as soon as you walk in, you've got the aging portrait from the young man to the rotted skeleton, basically. And who doesn't love the stretching room? So all those, it's so much fun going through there. So it really was kind of a wash between Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion. Those were my big 4, though. I really don't remember much of a queue for Tron, other than being frustrated that our number was called and waiting outside a half hour, waiting inside another half hour, 40 minutes, and going.
Yeah, I can't even include that because I've never been on it and I will never be on it.
Right. So those were the big ones. Some people say the new queue area for Dumbo. Darlene will have to help us out with that one. I've never gone through the circus area.
Wait. Why will Darlene have to help us out on that one?
She's got a little one that eventually here is going to be saying, Dumbo, ride.
I've actually gone on the ride with my goddaughter and my nephew, and the queue is very cool.
There are
Okay.
kids that don't want to go on the ride because they want to play in the queue.
Yeah.
I would be one of those kids.
Well, yeah.
All right,
Sir, you need to get out of the ball pit.
Remember that with Sheldon?
I had a really tough time coming up with a list for this one. Pirates and Haunted Mansion are tied. Big Thunder has a very nice queue.
It does.
Looking forward to what they're doing with Splash, because Splash always had a very nice queue.
But
also
it's
known now as
I left it off because it's not an attraction.
right.
Anymore.
It's now an extinct attraction, so we can't
Exactly. And then I was with Peter Pan, and the Hall of Presidents I have in there as well, because I like seeing everything that they have of memorabilia in there too. My other one was.
So I have a question. Do you guys think they'll have Trump in handcuffs at some point in the Hall of Presidents?
Sorry, guys, I didn't even think of what I was saying when I said that attraction.
Just a question, I don't mean anything by it.
What else did you have on your list, Darlene?
I know, right? It doesn't have a very big queue, but it's a small world. Seeing all the, clock and everything, and when the clock does strike and opens up, that's really cool. And of course, I love Pooh too. And
who doesn't?
How much do you love Pooh?
The Peter Pan, as you were saying, is very, very fun.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you're like right in the room, right, and seeing Tinkerbell flying around, and that's neat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. My number one, hands down for me again, is Haunted Mansion. I mean, it's just, for me, it's the most phenomenal attraction in that park. Number two is Peter Pan. I think it's one of the most underrated queues in all the parks, because most people, older people, adults, prefer not to go to that part of the park. If you have little ones, or you'll go there, but so I think it gets overlooked a bit. Number three, I had Pirates for the reasons you guys stated. Number four, I've got Jungle Cruise. I think that's an overlooked queue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so much that there's anything special there, but there's so much to see and read on the walls.
So many
hidden offices,
puns and messages, and and the music and the radio, and you're right.
Yeah. And another one you guys didn't mention, I'm surprised, is Carousel of Progress. Who doesn't like waiting out in the heat? No, I'm kidding about that one. But yeah, that would be my top four. I guess that was.
Which other one I have to say is really, it is fun, is the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. The entire thing is a queue. It's an attraction, but I mean, just straight from when you walk in, you're already immersed in the treehouse.
Well, how about the boat ride over to Tom Sawyer Island?
Oh yeah,
you can count that also.
Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. That's the queue to Tom Sawyer Island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I did forget to. I would put Splash Mountain in there as number 5 on my list.
Yeah,
but it's not.
I'm sorry, I meant Big Thunder Mountain.
Oh, Big Thunder.
Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah,
it's nice to be able to blow things up.
Yeah,
I forgot you can do that now.
Now, no one had Spaceship Earth on their list.
Going back to Epcot?
Space Mountain?
You had Space
Mountain. Oh, God.
I have Space Mountain on my list. I did, but I was waiting until I only went through my top 3.
Okay.
I was going to say, that was an honorable mention.
Yeah.
I can't ride it anymore, so I don't know if they changed it or anything.
They tightened up the actual ship that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
You don't slam around side to side anymore. They put padding in there.
Well, and Space Mountain has probably the best exit queue.
Yes.
Because
I liked it better when it
get
was
off.
when it rode you up. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And let's not forget the TTA that goes through so many different rides that we can see.
Well, if you
So,
But there's
consider
no
that
queue.
to be
There's no
your
queue.
pre-show for the entire land of
Yeah.
Tomorrowland, but
yeah.
yeah, the queue itself is, I hate the queue with all this. It's become so popular an attraction anymore, and they've got all those switchbacks with the ropes
Mhm.
outside.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Now, if it always worked and if it was longer, as far as details, it is a pretty cute queue. The queue for Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger
Mhm.
spin is it's pretty cool. It tells
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah.
At least.
Right.
Yeah. I think this is the one park where in time they could spruce up a couple of the attractions. Not the ones we've mentioned, but there are a couple other attractions I think they could spruce up a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what they have in store for us. All right. I think that's going to do it for us this week. We will not be back next Sunday to record because that's Easter Sunday.
Easter's in 2 weeks.
Oh, it's in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yes.
2 weeks
Oh,
away.
okay. So we will be back next Sunday.
Yeah, we will be.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. So in 2 weeks, then we'll record on a different day, but we'll be here next Sunday. Okay, good. All right. Well, until then, everybody be safe, be yourself. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Well, my closing today has nothing to do with our topic, but it has everything to do with today. So since it is St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to pull one out. And I don't know how many of you remember that Sean Connery sang a Disney song. So my little exit music for today is "She's my dear, my darling one, my smiling and beguiling one. I love the ground she walks upon, my pretty Irish girl." Top of the morning and good night to y'all.
Have a magical night. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Please pack your sunscreen because it is quite warm down here and you will get sunburn. And definitely pack a rain jacket or your umbrella.